Kids are strange. October 24th. I figure it's important we started off with that information. Those of you who are at home, you're not going to have a piece of papery thing that we're using here, but you can get it on the website. We'll talk about it in a moment. But you still get to follow along and learn. And like yesterday, which was a really short video because most of it was like stuff in class, today is going to be a longer video because we have a whole bunch of doodly learning to do today. This was hopefully going to help you out a wee bit. So one, you have a quiz coming up tomorrow, which will be a simile and metaphor quiz. With that one, this is going to be 12 questions, just like all of our other questions. It's going to be covering just similes and metaphors. If you did well and knew how to do the big picture homework, you'll be fine. When we've done all the ones out loud and I have to do the impact learning and you do well with that, you'll be fine. Essentially, here's what's going to happen on the quiz. I'm going to give you a sentence, and you have to tell me is this a simile, metaphor, or none of the above. And then you're going to have other ones where I tell you, this is a simile, what two nouns are being compared. As long as you can recognize the two nouns, you'll be good to go. On other ones, I'm going to say, here's your metaphor. Why are these two nouns being compared? And you're going to tell me why those two nouns are being compared. And the last section, I'm going to give you a simile or metaphor and say, this is a horrible globetrotter example. Why is this a globetrotter example of a simile? And as long as you remember the rules that go into it, you'll be fine. That's pretty much what goes into the quiz. My goal is for those of you who've been paying attention, this is not a real hard one to start off with. I was trying to gift you with a somewhat kind of easy-ish one to sort of see how things go. Next week is going to be a tougher one. Next week's the one where you have to read a poem on your own and use your own big brain and answer questions and stuff like this. This first one I've been beating you with a stick over similes and metaphors, so hopefully as long as my beatings have been proper, then you should be good to go. Yes, with that stick. Good job. Book report book-wise. I have a thing to write down book report books. If you have your book and you want to show it to me, show me at the end of class, I'll write you down. To remind you, it cannot be a book you've already read. So you cannot use the same book you used for the first 9 weeks. Nor can it be a book that you've read in the past. It has to be a new book. Plus, and here's the badder news, I cannot accept some of the books I did last time. As the year goes along, I have to keep pushing you to raise your reading ability. So there are some book levels that I agreed to on the first book report that on this book report I'll go, nope, you're going to have to push for a higher book level. So my goal is I keep pushing you to get smarter and smarter and smarter so you get to 8th grade and you get even smarter and so on and so forth. So there may be a book type that you did on the first one that I don't allow on this one. Just giving you a heads up. We will be going to library tomorrow for about 10 minutes or so. If you are wanting to find a book there, you are more than welcome to. If you have your own book, also perfectly fine. I have no issue with that either. Charger challenge I'm going to talk about in a moment. I'll explain that to you. Test corrections, that is going to disappear and be deleted on Monday. Does anyone have test corrections? All right, just double checking. Give me a big sign. They'll be deleted off on Monday. So I'm going to be emailing parents this weekend as part of my weekly email going, hey, did your kids tell you about the test corrections? If not, those horrible slacker children, and letting them know that they have until Monday to make you do test corrections and stuff like that. Plus, there's going to be directions for your parents on the off chance you've thrown it away and you're like, I can't do it, I threw it away. I'm going to have directions for your parents to go, hey, did they throw it away? Here's the extra work they get to do to make up for it. And he goes, I got your back to try and help you out. There we go. Make sure it's lined up right. And then bell work. You've, of course, written down bell work. It is number 3. And being responsible, you guys have all written date in that top left-hand corner and stuff like that.
We're supposed to be doing that?
Giblet. It is Chanel. Good Chanel recognition skill. Alright. Way back towards the beginning of the year, when I first introduced house points to you, I talked about Charger Challenge then. But it was at the beginning of the year, and you were confused about everything, and you pretty much just blinked at me nonstop. So the chances of that knowledge still being in your head, not very likely. But now that we're actually close to it happening, because it's going to happen next Wednesday after school, I'll explain to you Charger Challenge again. Charger Challenge is what goes back to we have the heroes, globetrotters, and stars, and the 3 teams fighting each other trying to figure out who's dominant and the best. So we came up with a way to figure out who's dominant and the best. So once each... Hiccup. Not that. Once each 9 weeks, we pick 15 kids to go into a combat battle to the death. And by battle to the death, I mean you score points. And so the way, not a good death, just kind of a death. And so the way this one works is I'm going to show you in a moment. We have 25 kids on the Heroes team I'm getting invitations to. It's the first 15 to turn in their invitation, starting at 2:47, actually get a chance to participate in it. So 10 of the kids getting invitations don't actually get to play. And so we'll talk about that in a moment. What do you do for Charger Challenge? A couple different competition-y type things. There's going to be one that's a balloon race, where you get to have a partner, and you and your partner have to race from one side of the cafeteria to the other side of the cafeteria, holding a balloon between the two of you, but you cannot use your hands at any point. And you're able to run and racing against and going around obstacles and stuff like that as you're trying to go from one side to the other. There's another one that involves you and two other people working together to bounce a ball off an obstacle and then into a target. And you have to keep rotating who is throwing it and trying to get it in. For those of you who are not athletically inclined and that scares you, there's another option which is just you solving mental puzzles, which is literally just like visual puzzles and stuff like that, where you get to go all big brain and things along those lines. There's another one where it's going to be a type of dodgeball called a revolutionary dodgeball, where you cannot move your feet, and there's a spot on the ground your feet have to stay, and you line up across from people like a line, like a firing lines, like back in the Revolutionary War, and you just sit there and throw a ball at each other back and forth. It's great. It's fast elimination style. And it finishes in a big trivia contest between the three teams. But the trivia is not like boring school trivia like adverbs and math problems, because we don't hate children that much. It's more pop culture things. There's questions about like Stranger Things and Supernatural. There'll be questions about the basketball teams, about football teams, and stuff like that. It all depends on how smarticle that you are. And so whichever team finishes the whole thing with the most points then gets to do the big win-win. When you get big win-win, a couple things. If it's you that win, you get 10 B points for being on the winning team, because winning the Charger Challenge is kind of a big deal. Not only do you get 10 B points, you get a limited edition collector's button that only people who win the Charger Challenge get. If you lose, you get nothing because you're a loser. If you win, you get all kinds of great stuff. You also get your name permanently up in the hallway here at school. If you go on your way down to like the 8th grade hallway or like science, you look off to the left, you're going to see all of these pictures and names up there in the hallway. Those are all the kids who have won the Charger Challenge, and it goes back like 12 years or something like that. If you've had older siblings come through here and they have won, they are listed up there. If you've had older siblings come through and they lost, they're not, because they're losers. And then hopefully you get to be a winner and you get to be up there. But you get to have your name permanently added up to our school and fun stuff like that. On top of that, you also have this giant trophy which gets brought into my room, which is going to have your face on it, and it's going to have your name on it, so you get to take a picture in front of it and brag to all the other kids about how awesome you are. Plus, you get to have your picture behind my desk. It's kind of hard to see right now as I move the thing, but right back over here, I frame a picture of whichever team is the most recent winners. Plus, you become the background on my computer. So anytime that I don't have something up on my computer, it is your smiling face there. But then you eventually get replaced by the newest team that wins. So hopefully we're going to be replacing with the new teams that are going to be up there. Oh, no, they're the kids from last year. They're 8th graders this year. And so that is how the Charger Challenge works. Of the 25 invitations, I think 4 or 5 of them come from this class. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 invitations come from this class. These are the people who have an invitation. To get an invitation, here are the ways to automatically get an invitation. Become student of the month, you get auto invite. Become student of the week, you get an automatic invite. If you have the highest grade when it becomes time for Charger Challenge, you get an automatic invite. And if you have the highest B points, you'll get automatic invite. Beyond that, I also invite random kids that make me smile, because you don't just have to have the highest grade or highest B points like that. Sometimes it's just good to invite those random good kids. Here are our random good kids who have an invitation who get to come up and grab one. Mailer, Schlag, Trucks, and Kaiser. Come grab your invitations. With these invites, you can choose to use your invitation, or you can give it to somebody else. But you only get one invitation per year. So if you just got this one, you'll never get another invitation to the Charger Challenge. But this invitation is good the entire year. We have another one coming up in January, one in March, and then another one in May. So if you are wanting to do it, but you can't do it now because you have like a practice after school, or you have to go babysit a younger brother or something like that, you're like, but I can't come. Hold on to that thing, and then you get to use it, say, January, March, May, something along those lines. If you know you're not going to do it, it's like, whatever, you're a bunch of losers, then you can give it to somebody else and have them use it in your place. But then you never get a chance to charge your challenge because you've given up your one invitation. So keep that in mind. If you are wanting to do it, and you are one of those chosen 4, at 2:47 today, it opens up to those people who got the invitations. At 2:47, there are 3 ways that you can sign up. One is in person. You just walk into my room. 2:47 is after the best bell, so all the kids have left. That way it makes it even and equal for all of my kids to get down here. You walk in, slap your paper down, you're like, it's me! And you're good to go. Or send me a remind message, and that's good to go. Or send me an email, and that'll also count and be good to go. Or technically a 4th option. Find a pigeon. Teach it how to fly. Take paper, tie it to pigeon, throw pigeon down hallway, and go, fly, pigeon, fly! And hope the pigeon makes it to my room. And then you should be good to go as long as that happens. But make sure you check with parents before you sign up. Because if you sign up and then realize you can't do it and have to drop, it costs you 5 points for falsely claiming a spot. So if you need to contact parents, call them or text them, that's absolutely fine for me to get cleared. If you have to wait till you get home tonight, that's fine. Send me a message and you should be good to go. Those of you who did not get invited, if I made a mistake and invited nothing but losers, and let's say tomorrow it is not full, it opens up to everybody. At 2:47, anybody who has a C or higher in English, social studies, and science for the first 9 weeks, then you are welcome to take the remaining spots. And I will let you know tomorrow during class if I have any remaining spots. And then at 2:47, it opens up to anyone else who wants to. Even if you did not get an invite, if you are one of those first ones to contact me, you are good to go. Questions as far as Charger Challenge goes. And this is the part where now Globetrotters and Stars we're also finding out about today, because we're all handing out our invitations to the kids. And so you'll find out more as it goes along, and we brag and talk about it and things like that. Yeah. All right. Then, now, notebook. Wee! Here's the bell word I'm going to have you guys write down. It is a 6-line poem that we're going to memorize, and it's going to get you B points for being able to say poem. Just like we did for the 7-element speech, the character, setting, plot, point of view, we're going to do the same thing again, but now we're doing it with a 6-line poem. So, you're going to write down poem, the parts in black and the parts in blue. The parts in black are the words you say. The parts in blue are going to be the motions that you do. And so we're going to have you go through and say it, and I'll practice it in a moment. What I'm currently doing is called stalling to buy you time to write it down, because it's going to disappear in a moment. So I can only stall for so long before eventually we're going to run out of time. So my people over here who are within easy stick poking range, this is where you've made sure to get notebook so you can write these things down so we can try to help you out. This is where your notebook comes in. Notebook, there you go. And you're going to hopefully write down stuff there to try and help you out. So the beginning of it goes, for the simile, like or as, you shall see. With the idea being is that in similes, you have to use the word like or as. For the simile, like or as, you shall see. You need to go? Go for it. And then you're going to have the part in blue which says point at audience. So you're going to go, for the simile, like or as, you shall see. And you're just going to point at people like that. Second stanza, but with the metaphor, use them no more. Because you're going to wave your hands back and forth. Now, when it says wave your hand, not like you're at like a concert and you're like, woo, woo, nor like your first period, how they're like fighting cats. And they're like this. I'm like, no, what are you doing? So you're waving your hands back and forth. Like you're saying, no, don't steal second. They have the ball. They're right there. So you're going to go, but with the metaphor, use them no more. With the idea being is that you're telling them, do not use like or as with a metaphor. And then finally, the very end, the comparing of two nouns is what you will do. Nouns is written small because you're going to whisper it. Because I wanted to keep my rhyme scheme going. Now it helps. This is the homework side. So you're going to turn it to the bell work side. So that way you're doing it on the correct side. So we don't have to make you recopy it. And so the comparing of two, you whisper nouns. is what you will do. That way I have my rhyme scheme of simile, see, metaphor, more, to, do, but you're not confused on what the to is referring to. So it's the comparing of two nouns is what you will do. And we're going to practice it in just a moment. Otherwise, you booby trapped it. Boy. That's still how it works. Mohammed. It's time for you to open your notebook and write this in there. Jackson. When you do it, if you can do it without mistake, then it gets you the 5 B points. And then just like the other one, each mistake you make is going to start costing you points. Like the first one, you'll get 1 free mistake, then after that it keeps costing you points as you go down. If you teach it to a globetrotter or star, you also get 5 points, and then they get 1 shiny monkey treat. You can teach it to the same kids you taught the last one to. For all I know, for some of you, you only have that 1 friend. And so you have to like keep using that 1 friend every time. If you don't have friends, this is how you make a new friend. You're like, hey, would you like a shiny monkey treat? They're like, go away. And you're like, not till you memorize this. And then you can try to make your new friend, and that way you get a chance to get your shiny monkey treat. Sure, nay.
May I please stand?
Sure. And Eli.
Can I do
Not yet for points. We're all going to do it in a moment. I appreciate your excitement, though. So to buy you another moment for righty bits, we're going to go through and do hand signs to try and help you out. And then we're going to try it a second time, and we'll do it a third. All right. So, oh, by the way, if you're done writing it, you can, we're done with it. That was all we needed the notebook for. Just write it in there to help you out. And then you can look in there behind it. All right. We have say words. Oh, no. Let's do it this way. I'll do pointy bits while you do talky bits. So we have
simile, like or as you shall see.
It's on the wrong side.
But with the metaphor, use them no more.
You will do.
It's what you will do.
Nice one. So the two and then the do. All right. Now I'm going to stand way over there. Those of you who feel strong, you can stare at me. Those of you who don't feel as strong, you're welcome to look this way, and we'll see how well you do. All right. For
the simile, like or as you shall see.
but
But with metaphors, use them no more.
struggle.
Comparing them to is what you will do.
We're getting there.
We're all depressed.
Struggle town. All right.
We're all
You work on that whispering of the nouns thing, and also not forgetting to say the word nouns. For those of you who just plowed right through excitedly. All right. Yes. Teamwork. How about this? Yeah, the connecting together. So we have. Let's try this again. We have.
Like or as you shall see. But with metaphors, use them no more. Comparing them to nouns.
Words.
You shall do.
I would like to say well done, but I try to lie to you as little as possible. So we'll just say done. Again, to remind you, book report coming up. I figure the more times I tell you, the better chance of it sinking into your head and you not being surprised. Like, what? There's a book report? I figure for most of you, me telling you at least 15 times will get it to sink in. This is only like number 8, so we have like a number 7 before it fully counts. And again, it's not like last book report. This is a whole new book report style, which I'll be showing you examples of and putting up stuff like that. I know you guys give me a look like, Mr. Brovicast, why do you keep saying it over and over again? We're not dumb. You say that. And then I get remind messages from kids going, so we're doing the same book report as last time. Can I start Googling pictures? And I'm like, and they're like, well, you never told us. I'm like, and so that's why I figure if I just keep repeating it, it might sink into some of the kids that are out there. Jackson.
How do you spell that sound?
It's got lots of and in the middle of it.
So constipated.
Yeah. But don't forget the cues. And then this isn't for you as much as it's for you. Not the kid over there, the one in the camera. Why don't you guys look over? Like there's a kid sitting, pointing the person on the camera. Those of you who are at home, you can download the paper that's there. You just have to go to the website and then take a look at it. There's a poetry page. And the one that says the poetry handout number 1, go download it, then you're good to go to follow along with this. When you come back to school, I'll give you a paper version. The others of you, hiccup, this is, stop it. Okay. If you forget your handout at school and you're having to go home to watch a video because you're sick or dead or something like that, and then you're like, oh, I wish I had a paper. It's on there. So you can go download paper and you'll be good to go. On your paper, find a little area on there. I think I should have a spot down there that'll say notes, just like a little blank area.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to write down a couple notes to try and help you out. The first one is the word stanza. And so I have you write down stanza, and we're going to give you a definition of stanza.
It looks like Z.
I know. It looks like it. Not a whole lot we're going to do. I mean, don't write super big.
What are we doing?
120.
For those of you who are either big-brained or have dealt with poetry before, you guys know what a stanza is?
Yes.
I'm glad they have used the same phrasing I have. That is the same thing I call it. Paragraph in a poem. Unlike those composition teachers who got all mad when I'm like, what's exposition? Boring beginning stuff. And they're like, grumble, grumble, grouch, grouch. I know, right? Apparently, Mrs. Rao's now throwing her hat in the ring, too, and she's now trying to throw down with me, like, whatever, I'll take you both. And so now, it's because they're composition teachers. It's not a real class. It's fun because they get all mad and they yell at me and he goes back. I get to have lunch with them. Anyway, stop entertaining me. But back up to here. Stanza. You're alive. You've been missed for so many days. Both, I would hide underneath my desk and cry. You're very powerful people. Stanza. Paragraph in a poem. Here's the other thing I'm going to have you write down besides paragraph in a poem. How do you know when one stanza ends and the next begins?
Space.
Because if we look at this poem, you cannot look for indents. Like in a normal paragraph, you'd be like, oh, you come down, there's an indent, you go to the next one. But there is no indent. There is no indent. If you look on this whole piece of paper, there is no indents until you get to like Annabelle Lee. And then there's like random indents. And you're like, my brain, And so because of that, you can't look for indents because apparently poets are insane. So instead, how you can tell how one ends and the next begins is there's a separator. So you find separator and you're good to go. So paragraph in a poem separated by a big space. So look for big space separator. And we're going to do a couple example ones to make sure you know what you're doing here. We're going to play the finger game. Settle down. The word game is a trick. So the way it's going to work, I'm going to show you a couple different poems, and you're going to count stanzas, and then you just hold up how many stanzas you think it is. I will tell you this, there is no more than 10 stanzas in any of them. So don't freak out and be like, 34? That's not, just realize you should have no more than 10. If you're finding more than 10, we have an issue. Jip?
Do I have to put the big, because it's separated by a big space?
Well, the reason I put that is because some kids will find like, but that's a space. And so that's why, once again, never underestimate the power of a special child. And so I had to put the big space because of that. All right, so let's go. This is also on your paper. If you look to, I think, the right, it says caterpillar. So if you can't see it, then it's right there too. I'm going to have you hold up fingers. How many stanzas do you have in Caterpillar?
10.
So you're going to count in the poem Caterpillar. Hold up fingers that you think you can connect. Alright, let's find out. Now you have your number. We're going to count them together. We have
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So if you had 6, then you're good to go. No, that's why we're learning together. The space is what separates it. Since we talked about Annabelle Lee, we're going to try Annabelle Lee also. On Annabelle Lee, look on backside of paper where it says the 2. Now, Annabelle Lee is 2 columns, so make sure you get the whole poem. There's going to be a total of 2 columns. So then once you have your counting on that one, you'll hold up fingers again. Not counting spaces, counting stanzas. Alright, let's count them together. We have
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So if you did 6 again, you're good to go. I have one more to show you, which is going to be challenge version. Here's your challenge version. It's the one called Injust on there. It also looks like this. I will tell you, you can count all the stanzas on 2 hands.
Where is it?
Either there or on your handout on the other side where it says Injust.
Do we have time?
You have like 8 more seconds.
Wait, can I guess it?
That's Morse code.
Well, you could, but I'm not sure that really helps you on an actual test.
It looks like Morse code.
Alright? Those of you who have your numbers, you're saying 3 stanzas total?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm saying 8.
Alright, let's count them. See how close you are. We have
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9!
No,
So again, as you go through it, you're not worried about if it's a sentence or not. What are we looking for to know when you separate them? It should be written right there in your note. Big space.
Oh, get the bird.
Big space. Down here is where it gets awkward, where you have space and then space, one word off to the right, space. That counts. It's awkward because the poet was insane, but it still counts.
The poet was mental so and knew how to do
Our last word that we're going to do for today, we're going to add other words later, for those of you who are trying to fill in the whole box with your medium writing. But the last one for today is called speaker. And a speaker in a poem is going to be whenever you have a main character in the poem talking to us. Now, not the poet. The poet is who writes the poem. Not the reader. The reader is the person reading the poem out loud. The speaker is a character in the poem who is talking to you. So it has to be a character in the poem who is... It basically has to be in first person. If you have a poem in first person and they're talking to you, then you're good to go. Some speakers are real boring. We'll read a poem and like, I'm walking down the street and there are trees which are like brown clouds on sticks. I think they're fascinating. I'm like, who's the speaker? And you're like, some boring guy. I'm like, nailed it. Other speakers will be like, I'm fuzzy with big ears. I jump through the grass. I nibble on carrots. And I'll be like, who's the speaker? And you're like, Uncle Bob? I'm like, no. And so you're going to have to figure out who the speaker is. Nicole? Usually it should be the main character talking. We're going to take a look at a somewhat fun-ish poem called One of the Seven Has Somewhat to Say. With this one, it does not have any similes or metaphors in it. I was trying to give you a break before the quiz. I wasn't trying to overwhelm your brain too much. But it does have a speaker. It does have stanzas. This is the first stanza. And then if you look at your paper in front of you, there's the 2 stanzas there. Here's what we're going to do as we go through. I'm going to have you figure out who the speaker is. Now, for most of you, you'll figure out the speaker because it's a famous character. If you do, don't tell us. Don't yell it out loud. Be like, it's Albert Einstein. Don't make me help you. So if you figure it out, hold on to the knowledge like a little puppy, and you just sit there and you should be good. If you don't figure it out, it's okay. We're going to help you, and we're going to guide you to get you there. On this one, unlike with short stories where I did all the reading, with poetry, you guys get to do the reading. So I'm going to have you read a stanza, and then I'll read the same stanza for that whole repetition thing. On this first one, Aiden was nice enough to volunteer to go first. It was very nice of you, Aiden. Thank you. So Aiden's going to read the stanza, and then I'm going to read the stanza. What I'm going to have you guys do is look for 3 things. The gender of the speaker. Is it a dude or a chick? And find me evidence to prove it. Me still talking. And then also, the job of the speaker. Evidence to prove it to me. And then, what does the speaker look like? Evidence to prove it to me. And then, not yelling at me when I'm trying to tell you things. And then evidence. All right. Aiden, you may begin.
Remember how it was before she came? The picks and shovels dropped beside the door, the sink piled high, the meals any old time, our jackets where we'd flung them on the floor, the mud tracked in, the clutter on the shelves, none of us shaved or more than halfway clean. Just 7 old bachelors living by ourselves. Those were the days, if you know what I mean.
Well done. Remember how it was before she came? Picks and shovels just dropped beside the door. The sink piled high. The meals any old time. Our jackets where we'd flung them on the floor. The mud tracked in. The clutter on the shelves. None of us shaved or more than halfway clean. Just 7 old bachelors living by ourselves. Those were the days, if you know what I mean. First one, gender and evidence. Journey.
Male.
Where's your evidence?
Where it says none of us shave or more than halfway clean.
So you're implying that girls don't shave any part of their body.
Yeah, like 7 old bachelors. Bachelors are women.
Well, back up. What's a bachelor?
Like, a boy. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I've seen The Bachelor, but
You have. To help you out, a bachelor's not like, I'm not a bachelor, but I'm definitely a guy. Ethan's probably a bachelor, but he is a guy.
My bachelor.
is it like a single male?
Nice one. So a bachelor is a single guy. So if he refers to himself as a bachelor, we know that he's single and that he's a dude. For those of you who have learned from your reality TV, what is a single female called?
Bachelorette.
So proud. Bachelorette. Nicely done. So you have bachelor, who is unmarried guy, bachelorette, unmarried girl. Don't judge. You be strong.
Jason Moore.
Also, how many roommates does he have? We figured that out too.
6.
Why not 7?
Because he's the
There you
7.
go. Including him makes 7. You have to do that whole math thing and figure it out.
Now he has 7 roommates because the
Of-
girl.
Hold on to that thought, but nicely done. You are correct. 7 or 6 other dude roommates, dude mates. And then, with his appearance, how does he look? We got the messy part. We got that one, I agree. But that's going to go to his job we're going to talk about. What did you say about how he looks?
He doesn't shave.
How do you know that?
Because he says unshaved bachelor.
Someone unclean.
There you go. If he's not shaved, then what does he have on his face?
Hair.
Beard.
Thank you. He has beard on face. I was even trying to help you out by bringing in an example. As far as his job, evidence as to his job, Jackson.
He's a miner.
Evidence.
The picks and shovels drop beside the door.
Now, not bad. I had one kid point out, Mr. Brovicast, maybe he works at a hardware store. And I was like, all right. There is one bit of evidence I could use to prove that kid wrong, though. And so is it not just working at a hardware store. It means going outside, but you're on the right track. By the way, saying track is your hint.
The mud that's tracked in.
There you go. Talking about tracking in the mud, that probably implies him working outside in some kind of form. Mining, gardening, grave digging, according to my earlier classes.
Yeah.
It may just be a little on the dark side. But so you have the evidence as far as the job, and then the house. How is the house set up?
Messy.
Evidence.
The dishes are piled up in the sink.
Works for me. Then we get to second stanza, and we're going to introduce new character, and then figure out his attitude towards new character. All right, Journey, you're going to read this one?
Sure.
Go for it.
Yeah, I have my phone right here. She scrubs, she sweeps, she even dusts the ceilings. She's made us a tool, a shed, She made us build a tool shed for our stuff. Dinner's at 8, the table's setting formal, and if I weren't afraid, I'd hurt her feelings, I'd move until we'd get married off, and things can gradually slip back to normal.
Nicely done. In this one, what gender is the new character that gets introduced?
Female.
Lady person. What does lady person do that upsets him?
Cleaning.
Nicely done. Extreme cleaning, like dusting of ceilings and stuff like that. With this extreme cleaning, it seems to really make him upset and grumpy. Those of you who picked up on evidence throughout the poem, what movie is the character from? So, who is the girl being referred to?
Big brain.
From the tone of the poem, you can also figure out which of the dwarfs it is.
Grumpy.
And how do you know it's grumpy?
Because
Well,
and he got big nose.
tomorrow, quiz! Make sure you're ready for it. Now you can take off.
Yeah.